Good morning. In this video, we will see soft and hard magnets. Now we know what is a hysteresis loop. Let us take a permalloy. Permalloy is an alloy of ferrous and nickel. Okay, so this is called as permalloy. And draw a hysteresis loop for permalloy. So hysteresis loop is between B and H. It is otherwise called as BH curve. So when we apply a very small magnetic field, the magnetic induction reaches a saturation. Okay, so a very small magnetic field is needed to make all the flux lines to enter inside the magnetic field. So that is a physical meaning for this. So this is B saturation. And when we decrease, this is H max. This field is enough. And when we decrease, it decreases here. And when we plot a curve minus B, it is like this. So here OB is very high, OE is OC is very small. So what is the value OB is called? OB is the remanence. The residual magnetization is very high. Remanence is very high. OC is coercivity. Coercivity is very low. So this type of material is called as soft magnets, soft magnetic material. All are ferromagnetic, but in that there is a small classification. Now if we take alnico, alnico is also a alloy which consists of aluminium, nickel and cobalt. When we draw a hysteresis loop and when we apply an external magnetic field, the saturation is here. So we need a very strong magnetic field to make the saturation be, the flux lines get inside. And when we decrease, it decreases here. It decreases. Then it goes like this. So OB is also high, OC is also high, but not as high as soft magnets. So this is called this type of material which has a hysteresis loop, hysteresis behavior like this, where OC, the field required to pull back all the residual magnetization is very high. Okay, so coercivity is high. OB is also high, but not as high as this soft magnets. So this type of material is called as hard magnets. So what has more application? Both the materials have more applications, because for some purpose we need a small magnetic field. With the help of small applied field, the magnetization is very high. So we spend small energy to make strong magnets. So this is used for strong magnets. But this strong magnetization is removed with the stray. We can call it as a stray field. Somewhere else, if the stray fields are present, the remanence is destroyed. All the magnetization is destroyed. Okay. We spend more energy to make the flux lines to get inside the material, because its HOB is high. And it needs very strong external field or the negative magnetization to pull back. So it is a strong magnet, not as strong as the soft. It is also strong, but it is permanent. So we have to spend more energy to pull back. So it is a permanent magnet. Permanent magnet. So both have applications. This is the difference between the soft and hard magnetic material. But why the material is behaving like that? When we apply a magnetic field, all the dipoles turn and reaches the maximum. Then we apply a small negative H, it drops. Here we have to spend more energy to make the flux lines to get inside, to the dipoles to turn. It is very difficult. So which force is hindering the motion of the dipoles? So as I said before in the domain theory, it is because of the defects prevailing in the material. For example, point defects. It can be a vacancy or a Schottky or Frenkel, interstitials, and then grain and grain boundaries. If there is a grain boundary while forming the crystallization, then we call it as a block wall. Because of that wall, there is a hindrance, it is a resistance to the motion of the dipoles. Okay, so that is a reason for the material to behave as a hard magnetic material. So if we want to fabricate a soft magnet with the help of nickel and ferrous, what we have to do? We have to crystallize without any impurities. So impurities will hinder the motion of the dipoles. That is also an example for becoming a hard magnet. So we should fabricate a material without any defects, without any impurities. So this is the difference between the soft and hard magnetic materials.